Hey everyone, today I kind of want to talk about collabs in Vanguard, but one thing just popped up today is that we hit 10k subs. So I'd like to just say big thanks to everyone for subbing. Without you all, it wouldn't have been possible to reach so far because, yeah, we need 10,000 people subbing, right? Yeah, big thanks to you all. We will be planning something soonish, right? I'm gonna have to organize it probably when I come back from Japan, because it's just that we have something coming up the next couple of weeks. So we'll probably have to organize it then. Be something down the track. I'll let you all know when it pops up what we'll do, what our plans is. But we'll definitely be doing at least a giveaway, I think, right? At least a giveaway. It's 10k subs, you know? Come on. And look, since I'm going to Japan, I think we might be able to get something really nice, right? But with that, again, I'd just like to say a big thank you. We'll probably say more thank yous throughout the week, just so everyone who tunes in will be very happy. And I'll also have on Thursday to meet Kelvin as well, and I'm pretty sure he'll be happy rejoicing too, right? So thank you all for subbing. It's just been a great journey, and we'll just be hitting the next milestone hopefully soon as well, right? So with that, kind of want to get into the topic of discussion for today, which is collabs. Now, collabs are kind of getting to be a pretty big thing in Vanguard, and there's a lot of people who are not happy, and at the same time are also happy for it, because the one thing with collabs, right, is you could be going, this isn't Vanguard, right? Look at these 5 girls. These aren't part of Vanguard. But at the same time, you know, if you're a fan of these, of quintuplets, for example, which are coming in soon, in set 12, you'd be like, it doesn't matter. I'm still buying the product anyway. I'm going to buy a full set. They're going to be full holographic and all that, right? So there's that kind of going on with collabs, right? But I think we're entering a point in time when collabs are becoming so common, they're either losing its luster or it's getting a bit annoying, would you say? Like every set, Hidani has said that they're going to do a collab. And, you know, some of these collabs for sure are better than others, I think. And I kind of want to just talk about that because, like, collabs have been a thing for Vanguard even back in the G era days, right? I kind of want to just point out here. Buddy Haripin here came second at Worlds with a Token Rambu deck, right? And first in Nationals with it as well. So way back in 2017, right? Collabs were a thing, and Token Rambu was a pretty good set back then, but it wasn't like TS dominating status. When this happened, right? People went, "Whoa, really? Token Rambu like did very well. That's insane." And it's not like they didn't know that Token Rambu was a deck or anything like that, because it was showing at least some results, but doing a big showing at like Nationals, WGP Nationals, and Worlds was definitely like eye-opening. People were like, "Wow, that's really cool." But no one really went like, these damn collabs are ruining the game, right? Nothing like that ever happened until like very recently in D. And I think it really comes down to when you look at a Token Rambu deck from way back in the G era, this was kind of still Vanguard, right? Of course, it had its own like mechanics. It had like Shinken Hisatsu, I think, which is basically just Limit Break 3. It also had another one, but I can't remember now. This set was also never ported into English, by the way. It was pretty sad. But in the end, you look at it, it's like, okay, it's got anime guys on it, but it's got grade 0s, 1s, and 2s, and 3s. It's got a G zone. So it's still Vanguard. You're playing collabs, and you know, it's still Vanguard. It's fine, right? It's fine. And I do kind of understand why, like, you know, Bouchard is pushing collabs so much. It's because, you know, it's an easy way to just get your name out there, right? You've already have a lot of, you know, the card game market playing Vanguard, and the ones that aren't will probably not play it in the near future. Kind of saturated that market. How do we reach out, right? And, you know, this is like with collabs, this is how it happens, right? You have like VTubers like playing, like opening packs, right? And NA here saw Mushi King, very interested. There's like a lot of viewers and subs, you know, like this is easy reach. If you get a few more collabs that are good out there, this is the kind of reach you'll get that you wouldn't normally just get with just like a normal set, right? But why, like, apart from like the frequency of these collabs, what is like the general, like, you know, displeasure, I guess, that is starting to maybe seep in when it comes to collabs? And I guess the key thing I just want to say is like the intrusiveness of the collab itself. So there's 2 ways that Bouchard is currently doing collabs, and that is they'll release it in a booster pack, right, as like part of like an additional part to the booster pack, or they'd release it as like a standalone set, right? And, you know, with the standalone set, you can just choose not to buy it, and you'll never see it. And maybe you'll see it at locals, and that's pretty much it. So let's kind of talk about what was like a really strong set, and that was like Monster Strike 2. Yeah, so this was a really, really good set. It created Ebisu. Ebisu plagued the format for like ages, regarded as like pretty much the best deck in the format. And, you know, I guess it's kind of really annoying for a player who doesn't want to even touch a collab set, right? Because if it's so good, you're kind of forced to play it, right? You're kind of forced to play it. Because if you don't, you're losing. You're just losing, right? And in a way, like, collab, like, Ebisu had, like, kind of really annoying mechanics that really broke the game as well. So even if you try to, like, run away from it, you just want to play normal Vanguard, you just really couldn't. So I can kind of understand the displeasure from there. At the same time, though, if you make a set that is, like, not very good, if you make a collab set that is, like, pretty bad, then no one will even buy it, right? Like, for example, yeah, Valkyrie, right? This is not a great. I think the main like takeaway from this set was like, oh look, Adam's naked. Let's build a deck around him, and you know, have some fun at locals. And I mean, that's kind of funny, but at the same time, it kind of negates the purpose of a collab. Is like, if no one's seeing it, then what's the point, right? You're just wasting money there. So one of the more perfect collabs has been Shaman King in the past, and this was a standalone one. It was like a good deck for its time. It wasn't broken, it was good. And people would go like, hey, it's Shaman King, whatever, right? It's a pretty cool series. Even though it's not really like Vanguard looking, but at the same time, it kind of did play like Vanguard in the D era. So it's a lot of people liked it anyway. So this one really struck the nice balance of collabs in general. But let's going back to the idea of intrusiveness, right? So I've talked about how, like, you know, maybe a deck that is way too strong really intrudes on the meta, where, you know, you're forced to play against it even if you don't want to, or you're forced to have to play it yourself because it's just the best deck, and like someone on the team has to play it, right? Or if you really want to win, you know, you have to pick the best deck, so you have to play something that isn't really like Vanguard. It's like another IP that you don't really care about. Let's talk about like the other scenario where, you know, you don't have to buy the booster pack. The cards themselves come in like as an additional card in like a booster pack. There are still some very annoying things too. So let's kind of talk about probably the most recent ones that kind of stand out. So we have Mushi King here, right? It's bugs, right? It's bugs. Hey, everyone finds bugs funny, but I venture out and say this is kind of intrusive in a way that, you know, this doesn't really look like Vanguard at all. But, you know, people will still be playing at locals. You'll still be forced to play. It has like really strange mechanics that really aren't Vanguard-ish in a way. So in a way that's kind of intrusive, but then it's straight up followed up by like Gotobun, right? Which is the next, which is 100% going to be successful. Like, people just buy Gotobun, right? Or quintuplets, as you might say. But, you know, the mechanics for quintuplets as well, like, they are Vanguard, but at the same time, you know, it's kind of not. And like, it's not Mushi King bad, right? Mushi King is like, look at this. This is more Mushi King than it is quintuplets. I mean, Mushi King than it is Vanguard. Quintuplets is you just get a crest, you know, you get some memory, your cards do some funny things. So it's not as bad. But then you look at something like Token Rambu 2, for example, the D era version of that. You know, now you have like forging, you have crests that turn any grade 3 or grade 2 or grade 1 into your main Vanguard, because, you know, you got to play your Husbando class, which I guess it's pretty good for like the people who are into the game because of collabs, right? But then when you're talking about the fundamental game of Vanguard, then it becomes weird, right? It's if you're a Vanguard player first, you'd be looking at that's not really Vanguard. And then all these new rules that they add just to make the collab, you know, flavor there is probably makes it pretty obnoxious, right? In a way, let's look at, there are some collabs which I personally think are really, really well done. So the Bang Dream collab, for example, this one, I think this is perfect. This is probably one of the best collabs they've done. And why is that? Is because, like, look, these are all critical triggers or criticals, you know, or they're all triggers in a nutshell, right? They're highly sought after. People really like Bang Dreams. That means they'll buy triggers. They buy a lot of packs just to get these triggers. There's different rarities, so if you're like a fan of Bang Dream, but you don't have money, you can get the lower rarity. But then if you're like a super simp, then you can buy the high rarity. And then because there's so many sales just for people buying this, the entire set becomes very, very cheap. So if you looked at set 10 in Japan, that set was crazy well priced. Of course, like, you know, things like masks were slightly expensive, but they kind of depreciated into price pretty quickly just because there were a lot of people who just wanted these crits, right? And if you don't want to play Bang Dream crits, that is fine, right? You can just play normal crits. But if you're just a huge fan of Bang Dream, you can play these crits, and, you know, it doesn't really impact the game, right? They're not like, this crit doesn't become like a 30k, you know, twin driving machine that, like, you know, your opponent's like, what does it do? It's like, I don't know. You read the crest, right? There's like 30 effects printed there. So in terms of the impacts of the game, I think it's like very low, but it does give a lot of reach to the game in a way, as well as like have like unintended pluses, which, you know, having cheap product is pretty good, right? Is pretty good compared to like our set 10, which was like probably more like slightly higher in price or more in price. You know, for the cycle, like, it's a set of cyclers. You know, you want that price to be as low as possible. Yeah, I feel like this was like a great addition. Even things like not this. So like the HoloLive one, this one, we saw this before. The impact of this is very low. Like, it replaces a ride line, but at the same time you can use the other ride line. It also has the same effects. It was really just there because, you know, if you're a huge fan, like, you can get into it, you can try it out. But otherwise, there's not really that much. If you just don't want to use it, you just don't have to use it, you know? All right, so I feel like these kind of low impact, non-intrusive. I want to just call these like non-intrusive ride lines are a big plus. Like, that's what I like a lot. But when you're starting to like get like crests, which I feel like they're just using so many crests now, like putting like a crest for everything. They feel like in 2025 Vanguard, by then everything will have like 5 crests, right? And there'll just be like so many different kind of rules and like combinations and things that I feel like will definitely make the game more bloated, not more difficult, but like a lot more bloated. And if they're doing a collab like every set, like, this could be a real possibility. Like, where's the crest for this? Where's the crest of that? I feel like a lot of these decks, even though they might not be like the top tier, right? Like Mushi King might not be like tier 0, right? Or quintuplets might not be tier 0. But like, in saying that, right, Ebisu was kind of tier like top tier. It's looking like Token Rambu's very, very strong. A lot of these all have like these game warping kind of crests, and yeah, before you say, you know, Monster Strike didn't have crest, they did have like an order that functioned like a crest. It really changed the way you played, right? So it is pretty much, it was like a prototype crest before they started going, wow, this is perfect. It just feels like the crest is being used to totally change the game in a way that makes it very unlike Vanguard. And we went from like just crests being for stride deck sets to allow you striding, and I was like, hey, fun stride license, to become like, how about we play like a totally different game? And that's kind of what I don't really like. Although I do like if they make a collab that is just like a favorite thing of mine, right? You know, I'll lap it up, I'll buy it. That's the unfortunate reality. That's what the collab is done, right? But is there a way to make collabs better, right? Is there a way to make collabs better? Personally, I think the Bang Dream crits are perfect collabs. Shaman King was a perfectly well-designed, perfectly balanced nation, clan, whatever you'd like to call it, collab set that I think was just very, very well done. But I guess with what they're doing now, it's just way easier to stuff cards into like the main booster pack, right? It's way easier to do that. So if that's how they're doing it, I guess that's how they're doing it. But let me know what you all think, right? I'm sure a lot of people are gonna say collabs are bad. No collabs. Go play Weiss if you want collabs. But I do see, like, look, if they print something like a Final Fantasy collab with Vanguard, bam, you're gonna get so many people into the game. It's insane, right? So I can definitely see the value of collabs, but just the way that they're doing like some of these collabs, I feel is way too intrusive in the game. I feel like if they take a step back and make like good collabs, it'll definitely be better for the overall health of the game. So let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you all in the next video. All right, bye.